Hey y'all, today I'm going to show you how to make a twisted ear warmer on your Addie King. This is what they look like. Here's another one. You're going to start out with some waste yarn. So to start, make sure that your first black needle is to the left of your yarn holder. I always turn my row counter to 0. For the waste yarn, I usually have about an 18-inch tail of yarn and I drop it there in the middle. And then I bring my yarn between the white and the black needle and then go in the front of that first black needle. To cast on, you're going to want to go slow and have loose tension. So we're going to go in front of that first needle, we're going to go behind the next one, in front of the next one, and we're just going to continue to alternate around. So going slow, go ahead and turn, go behind that one, go in front of the next, behind, front, behind, front, and just keep doing that all the way around back to the beginning. And you're going to want to go slow and use loose tension. I tend to want to go fast. All right, there we go. Back, front, front. There we go. All right, we are back at the beginning there. And as you can see, I'm between the black and the white needle. I'm coming around the back side of that white needle. And I'm going to pop the yarn in the yarn holder. And I always put it down in that little hole and then close that. So we just cast it on. And now I'm going to reset my row counter again. Now we're going to do 5 rows of waste yarn. So starting slow, go ahead and turn. I still have pretty loose tension. So I'm really just letting the yarn glide through my fingers. Okay, we're back at the beginning and starting row 2. Again, you're still going kind of slow here. Usually go slow for the first 3 or 4 rounds. Also, you want to be sure that your waste yarn contrasts with the yarn that you're going to use for your project. It is really important, and I will show you at the end why, but just make sure that you can tell the difference between the two. Okay, my row counter just turned over to 5, and so we're going to complete round 5. All right, we just completed round 5. So I usually leave about a 12-inch tail of my waste yarn. So pop that open, pop that off of there, and put everything in the middle. And you want to make sure that yarn is coming around in front of that white hook. Now grab the yarn you're using for your ear warmer. And I usually do about a 36-inch tail because we're going to use this tail of yarn to get the twisted look. So do about 36 inches and drop that in the middle and go between the white and the black needle and pop that in the yarn holder and close it. Now for my tension on this yarn, I'm just going to show you using this. I hold it in my hand like this, and I have my thumb there, and it's just really just holding it in place. There's hardly any pressure. So medium tension. So now reset your row counter to 0. And I still go pretty slow for the first few rounds. And then you can go as fast as you want. And we're going to do 90 rows. Okay, we just finished row 1, and it looks like I lost some yarn here. I don't know what is going on with my machine. Okay, so to see that you have a drop stitch, see how right here the yarn is in between that? I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to make sure it's around both sides of that, like this one. And the same thing happened over here. But if you look, see that right there? That's our loop. So very gently, I'm going to grab that loop. And you want to gently lift because you don't want to have too much tug to pop any of the other ones off. So you see how I did that? I come around on this side, and I went under and just gently lifted that. There. So that's why you want to start out slow for your first several rounds, because it's easy to drop a stitch. Now we will continue on, still going kind of slow here. And as it comes around, I'm watching my stitches here to make sure that it's coming around the back side of that needle. All right, we just started row 3. Usually after row 3, I'm going to start picking up speed. Also, I'm going to say row and I'm going to say round. They mean the same thing. I just can't help myself. I just keep interchanging them. Okay, we just started round 4. And now I'm going to start picking up some speed because we're going to 90 rounds. And I'm still watching right here the whole time, making sure I'm not missing any stitches there. All right, so keep cranking out those rows until you get to 90, and I will meet you back at that point. Okay, y'all, my row counter just clicked over to 90, so we're going to finish that out to complete row 90. There we are. And now we're going to cut our yarn, and I like to leave probably another 36-inch tail. I only have about that much left of my yarn, so I'm just going to throw that in there. Make sure, see how I kind of popped that off? You want to make sure that that is going around in front of your white hook, and just drop all that in the center. And now we're going to cast on our waste yarn. So let me tell you, the first several times I did this, I kept forgetting to do waste yarn. And you're really going to want to use waste yarn because it makes life so much easier. So I have probably a 12-inch tail or a little more of waste yarn. Drop that in the middle. Pop that in the yarn holder. Again, go in between the white and the black hook. And I have it like on the other side of that yarn. Be sure to close that. And I'm going to reset my row counter. And we're going to do 5 rows of waste yarn. And I usually start out kind of slow too, since we dropped yarn and we're starting new yarn. Okay, finishing out row 5, and there we are. So now leave another 12-inch tail or so. Pop that off, drop that in the middle. Again, you want to make sure that your yarn is coming around in front of that white needle. Make sure you close this. And now we're ready to cast off. So making sure that this is closed so you don't break a needle. Go ahead and just turn, and eventually all of that will start coming off the needles. There's always the very last one that can be stubborn. See, sometimes you just have to pull that one off. And the yarn split. Okay, so I go ahead and get everything ready so I don't have to do this when I start my machine up again. All right, now we're going to move the machine out of the way, and I'm going to show y'all how to make the ear warmer. All right, and now we have our ear warmer. We're just going to gently stretch it, and when I stretch it, I'm holding this end gently and kind of squeezing here and pulling. Just gently squeeze it. We're going to stretch all of that out. And then start at one end. And we want to straighten up these yarn ends here. Be very gentle. You don't want to pull on these. So just gently straighten all of that up without pulling. Okay. I'm starting with the end that we cast on. You want to find this end and have all of your yarn strands going this way. Get that all nice and neat. And now we're going to switch to the other end and get that end neat. So here we are. You may find some of your stuff in the tube. Okay, we have that nice and neat. And remember, I threw my yarn in the middle. So this is the end here that we finished with. So I'm going to go back to the other end. Just kind of straighten all that out. And just kind of pinch down that row there. Okay, so see how we have our yarn ends coming out here? We're just going to work down here like this. And get those lined up. So you see where we have our waste yarn here and our waste yarn up here? These are the loops we're working in. Okay, so we want to get them all lined up. And these two on the end here, you're going to go under this one here. So just slip under that one. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. And then you're going to slip into this one here. And you're going to slip that into that loop. Okay, you're going to go to the next two. And you see how I have it pinched so you just see those two loops? If for some reason you get it loose again, you can just pinch it back up there. So go into this one here. And slip into that one. And slip. You're just going to keep working down the edge there. And if your work looks like that, just pinch it again. Okay, if you got the hang of it, you can go ahead and just fast forward, but if not, I'm going to work a few more slowly. See how you can see some of the other loops in there? The only ones that we are worried about are the ones on the top. Can y'all tell I'm struggling here? I'm at a really weird angle. So sometimes you're just going to have to kind of redo it there and pinch it again. And now y'all see why it's so important to have contrasting yarn. Okay, we are almost to the end. Can get a little tricky at the end, so you may just have to roll some of that out. Make sure, see that one right there? Just kind of got to roll it back there. They get a little buried. So I'm just, but gently do that. See, I'm just trying to roll and pinch. There we go, right there. And then grab this one here. And that one. Now I'm just going to go in here. See, there's more. You want to make sure you get those two. So grab this one and slip. Don't forget that one there. Just kind of buried. And slip. And then that one right there. I almost messed up with this colored yarn, huh? Okay. And double check, make sure you got everything. It looks good. And now we're going to take our yarn tail that's the same color as our ear warmer, and we're going to grab that and we're going to slip. Oops. And we're going to slip that through our loop. And then slip and bind off. Okay. So now we're going to get rid of this waste yarn. And notice when you pull this, see that yarn moving? Just going to take your crochet hook. And I just put my hook in there and I pull up. We're going to pull that through because you can reuse your waste yarn. So give it another little pull to see where it's at. And flip it around here. We're just going to pull that through that very last loop. All right, now I just start wrapping. And as you wrap, it's going to unravel. See? Whoops. We'll get those out of the way here. Okay. See, it just unravels all that. So go ahead and pull off all of your waste yarn. All right, let's get the waste yarn out of the way. Now we have a nice seam. So now we're going to pinch the other side here. Okay, find your yarn tails, and we're going to flip that around. And you want to make sure that your ear warmer isn't all twisted. You want to keep it all nice and straight. So with your yarn tails on this side, we're going to start over on this side. We're going to roll that down. And do you see where you're going to go in at? Right there. Then you're going to grab that right there and do the same thing as you did on the other side. Slip. Grab that one. And that one. And just continue to work it like that until you get to the end. And if you get lost, just pause for a second and pinch it together. Okay, I will meet you back when we get closer to the end. Okay, and grab that one there. And get our working yarn out of the way there. This one's hard to see here. Gonna grab that one. See, I'll just kind of roll that open so I can see. We want to grab that one. There's two left. Grab that and go through. So usually these are over here, but my tension must have been off at the end. It happens. So I'm going to do something kind of weird just to secure this. And then once we get our waste yarn out of the way, we can always like weave that end in a little bit to make sure, whoops, we can always weave that end in a little bit to make sure that it's secure. But for right now, we're just going to pull that through that. And then we're going to find our working yarn, and we're just going to pull. And again, I kind of just wrap that around my hand as I pull. I pull a little and wrap, pull a little and wrap. So get rid of all of that waste yarn, and I'll meet you back when you're done. Okay, so we're back at our weird end. I just thread my yarn end on a needle, and I'm just going to make a knot because we're not going to see this because we're going to do the twisted look, and it's more important that your ear warmer isn't twisted right now. So I would rather have some weird end that we don't really even know about than have my ear warmer all twisted and wonky. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right here. I'm going to go through that loop. I'm just going to put a little knot there. Done is better than perfect. Can I get an amen? Okay. So we're just going to pretend that looks like the rest of it because we're all good. None of those stitches are loose or anything, so we're good. So now lay your ear warmer flat to where it's not twisted at all. And you're going to take each end and you're going to fold it like that, okay? Go ahead and make sure your yarn tail is threaded on your needle. And grab the other end and do the same thing. So now we have the two ends like that. And you're just going to put them together. Just interweave them here. Okay? Just like that. Try to get it, you know, all straightened up as possible. So you have 4 rows here. Zoom in. So you have 4 rows here. Now we're going to take our end. We're going to go through that first end here. And you want to go through the next row and the next one. Sometimes I lift it up and give it a little wiggle to make sure I'm through there. And then go through the last one there and gently pull. And just give it a nice little tug. We're going to do the same thing going back through. See how I'm just kind of giving it a little tug. Make sure I'm in that row. Well, this one's being stubborn. Okay, let's see. There we go. And pull. Give it a little tug. And you're just going to keep doing that until you get to the other end. Just make sure you go through all 4 rows because when you get down here, sometimes this likes to slip down. Okay, almost done. We're Make sure you got through all 4 rows. Okay, we're there at the end, and we're going to go one more time through there. See how that kind of fell down? Okay, I'm just going to come in at an angle, make sure I'm going through there, and I'm going to pick up this last one right here. And just for good measure, I'm going to go one more time through here just to get that far edge. I'm just going to give it a nice little tug and look, make sure there's no gaps. If it's for me, I'm done. But if you are selling it or making it for somebody, you can go back through a couple of times just to be extra secure. As you can tell on this, going back through, I'm not being perfect about it. I'm just getting it done there. Okay. So on the way back through, I'm going to pick up that corner. There we go. All right, give that a little tug. And now you're just going to weave in your end. Okay, now find your other end and weave that in, and you are done. So you're going to turn it right side out here. There's our other end. What I'll do is I'll flip it back through and sew it in on the other side. All right, here is the ear warmer. I am going to just take this end and I'm going to go through here to the inside. And then I will weave all of those in later. But I want to show you your ear warmer. And here's the other ones that I made. Can add you a little tag. This tag is from Angie and Britt, but I also love to get tags from Idaho Tailor Made. I will put a link down below, and I'll also put a link to Idaho Tailor Made's Etsy shop. As you can see, this looks good in any color. Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments and I will be glad to help you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.